Hi folks. So it looks like the United States really wants Turkey back, at least for the F-35 fifth generation stealth fighter jet program. But there is a problem. Turkey has the Russian-made S-400 air defense system, for which it was kicked out of the F-35 project in 2020. As reported by Greece's leading daily Katimerini, the United States wants to bring the Turks back into the F-35 if the Turks would at least consider placing their S-400 battery at Incirlik Air Base in southern Turkey. The Americans think that the Russians might have built a backdoor access program into the Turkish-owned S-400 to spy on the F-35, which was why they got Ankara out of the program in 2020. Of course, the offer smells a lot like Americans want to take a peeky at the Turkish S-400. But so far, the Turkish government has said, thanks, but no thanks. Still, these things change at the drop of a dime, and it might help to understand what's going on. I've written about the F-35 S-400 business a lot and spoken to some well-informed analysts and experts. Links in the description box below. In this video, what I'd like to do is share with you my thoughts on this matter in 5 questions. Question 1. Why is the United States offering Turkey the F-35 only 4 years after kicking it out? Many of us are old enough to remember the accompanying headlines to that story. Turkey is abandoning NATO, it's turning east, it's turning towards Russia, it's turning south, blah, blah, blah. Neo-Ottomania. Why did Obama lose Turkey? Thanks, Obama. The truth is, despite all its problems, Turkey actually looks saner and stronger than Israel, the other major US ally in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Middle East. Yes, the US has patched things up with Greece and Greek Cyprus recently, and Romania and Bulgaria are also NATO allies, so there's a Balkan component there, but none of those countries has Turkey's reach, muscle, or industrial capacity in this part of the world. And so long as Benjamin Netanyahu stays in power in Israel, the Jewish state will look more like a lunatic asylum, SKP, attacking its neighbors left, right, and center. Not what the US wants or needs, so it's hedging its bets. Having a stronger Turkish Air Force equipped with F-35s serves that purpose. Question number 2. But then why is Turkey asking for the new generation F-16s, the Vipers, as well as the Eurofighter Typhoons? And now there's even talk of selling F-15s to Ankara. There's something of a timing problem here, folks. By now, Turkey probably would have had about 30 F-35s had it stayed in the project. Along the way, it would have upgraded its fleet of existing F-16s at its own tempo and maybe with some US support. But without the F-35s, the current Turkish combat fleet gets older faster, and that somewhat blunts Turkey's operational edge. Now, any country that wishes to attack us is insane. If you follow my channel, you know we have, as Turkey, a lot more toys in our arsenal. But a slightly older Air Force, that might give some bad guys the wrong ideas. So until Turkey returns to the F-35, if it returns, it will need strong and proven cheaper systems like F-16 Vipers and Eurofighters as a stopgap measure. Question number 3. Could Turkey's own defense industry solve both the S-400 and F-35 problems? Yes. One interesting detail here is that 2 of Turkey's highest profile systems are its indigenous air defense system, Steel Dome, and its own 5th generation national combat fighter, Mehmet Khan. Now, developing those things will not be easy, especially Khan. It took the Americans years to roll out the F-35, and the F-22 Raptor line had to be shut down prematurely because of the production, operation, and maintenance costs. Meanwhile, Russia's Sukhoi 57 is not quite 5th gen yet, and China has begun integrating its new stealthy engines for its J-20s only recently. That's to say that making Khan will be hard but not impossible. Yes, Turkey is smaller than America, China, or Russia in terms of economy and population, but we Turks have much bigger ambitions and a sense of grandeur. Nothing we've put our minds on we have not accomplished. Same goes with our air defense platforms. 2 years ago, Dr. Haluk Görgen, the director of Turkey's Defense Industries Agency, said that when the Sipar long-range high-altitude air defense system is fully developed, Turkey won't need the S-400, and new blocks of Sipar are already getting there. Okay, so far we covered why the US may bring Turkey back into the F-35, why Turkey still wants other aircraft, and whether Turkey could develop its own assets. Question number 4. How Turkey will try to offload the S-400 that's already in its possession. This is the million ruble question, which at the current exchange rate will come to about 10,400 US dollars. But despite what some geniuses think, Turkey just can't turn over its S-400 to Ukraine, even though God knows that a lot of Turks would want to see that. But I'm pretty sure the contract with the Russians preclude that. Placing the system at Incirlik will make Moscow unhappy, but the Russians can probably live with that option. After all, Incirlik is sovereign Turkish territory. Meanwhile, Turkey returning the S-400 to Russia for a refund would be unwise, because that will open a whole can of worms with NATO. The big problem is this, folks. As a retired Turkish Air Force general told me, bowing or appearing even to bow to American and NATO pressure over the S-400 will not be a good look for us. So not many options here. Maybe we can turn it over to Azerbaijan or another fellow Turkic republic, an ally of Turkey that uses Russian weapons, but the better option is probably just to store it. Question number 5. Can Turkey and the United States actually work this out even though they don't really trust each other? Very good question. This is really the sticking point. While the two allies need each other in an increasingly volatile world, the Turkish and US political elites don't really trust each other. A leading Turkish defense industry analyst recently told me this. What would happen if Turkey did turn over the S-400 to someone else or put it in Incirlik, but the Americans never give us the F-35? Plus, he said, given how bad Turkish-Israeli relations are, it's almost certain that the Israelis and their lobbies in Washington will block the sale of F-35s to us. Of course, there are also commentators in the West who sometimes say things like, if you give the F-35 to the Turks, they will show the blueprints to the Russians, Iranians, and the Chinese. No, if you ever see or hear someone who writes or says that, just stop reading or watching them, folks. They have no idea what they're talking about. The issue here for the United States is Turkey's increasingly independent foreign policy, not industrial espionage. For the Turkish side, the issue is that the United States is holding it, or appearing to hold it, to a different standard than many other NATO allies. And here's the sticking point, and the US has done some pretty questionable things in Turkey's wider neighborhood. Iraq, Syria, its conditional support for Ukraine, unconditional support for Israel. Meanwhile, Turkey has not turned over the blueprints for its F-16s or the Perry-class frigates or the Leopard 2 tanks to any third party. All right, so I threw a lot of things at you. If you have any questions or thoughts, please write them in the comment section below. And don't forget to click like and subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you very much.